hold to it and shoot for the sky.
Hello and welcome to the Ring Post Daily Podcast. I am one of your hosts, the the holder of the Ring Post Daily Call Your Shot contract, Mr. RPD Ty Ramsey. He is also one of your hosts. I always feel inclined to say Mr. Fantastic, but I'm gonna call him the holder of a 1 point advantage going into WrestleMania season. Joey Hudson and TSW interviewer, of course. And today we are the Ring Post Daily Podcast, and we got a duo episode for you. And so we're right in smack dab in the middle of a super card, but we'll be doing next week we'll have pretty much everybody, or we'll see if we'll have everybody for the super card picks. Regardless,
Super card 39. I thought it was 40 on the last episode, but it's kind of crazy because that means like I think we've been in business now for like almost 4 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done like 39 super cards, which if you add all the pay-per-views in total, like it's crazy. But yeah, we're in the middle right now. We're on halftime, as I like to call it, of super card 39. The score is Eddie has 2 points. Tyreek has 2 points. I have 3 points. I'm ahead by 1 point. I'm not getting cocky, but I do want to announce that this will be my last episode as non-champion because I'm taking that title. I'm a one-time RPD champion. I need to get my name out there more as champion.
Yeah, this is very interesting. We went a lot of different, I think out of all of us, well, yeah, Joey, you probably got the most matches right. Like, everybody got like one match right, was like the Punk match, and then you got the Elimination Chamber and Punk right, and that was your super pick, right? Punk was your super.
Punk was, yeah, and I think if I'm correct, I think you and maybe Eddie was like the only two that got their wild card right.
Yeah, because I got that Drew would get involved in the chamber match.
And he had that Javon would jump off the top.
Yeah.
And then none of us got the first and maybe only ever crate reveal wrong.
Yeah.
We were on the right lines of it being a person, but who the hell would have thought it would have been Dan freaking Housen?
Yeah, I heard that a little bit, but even during the episode, I was sitting there like when we decided to make it a crate pick, I was sitting there thinking like, is it gonna be Seth? Is it gonna be Y2J? Because those were the two obvious ones we had.
Uh-huh.
But then I was like, I've heard Danhausen for some reason, be mentioned on social media, but I just didn't risk it, but I should have risked it. But
Dude, you want to talk about risk? Eddie's super pick was Becky Lynch, and it was a solid pick, not gonna lie. But AJ pulled the upset up and cost Eddie, and if Eddie would have won that, he would have been leading by like 2 or 3 points right now.
Yeah, so it was weird. It was weird.
It
Like,
was.
Cause we were talking, during the predictions episode, and Eddie Wade left out. Or no, he pointed out he was just saying, AJ Lee having her first singles match in over 10 years, and how's she gonna win the title from the greatest Becky Lynch? And I was like, that's a good point. Of course, wrestling logic is anything can happen, but I was like, when he said that, I was like, how's she gonna do it? Like, of course we know at times it makes sense where a returning legend, they're trying to like remind you of who they are, but when she won, I was like, okay, that was impressive. But that was big time bets who's been full time for a while now.
It really, I heard what's gonna happen is it's gonna be like a retirement match, like Becky's career versus AJ's title. And from what I read a while back ago, it said something like Becky plans on retiring in the near future and trying to be, other ventures, but be more of a stay-at-home mom. So this could be the last Becky Mania that we see, I think. Time will tell when that happens, but it really surprised me because I thought AJ was going to lose and then go to Mania and win it. No, and I hate how they're portraying her to be a Chicago native. Like, bro, you're not from Chicago. You might live there, but like I live in Kentucky. I'm from Ohio. I was born in Ohio. I can't. That's like Chris Jericho saying from Winnipeg, Canada, resigning in Hollywood, California, whatever. But you're not a Chicago native. Just because your house is there and you're married to someone who's there doesn't mean that's where you're from. They might as well just change her location and say from Chicago, Illinois.
I believe she's from New Jersey, some part of New Jersey.
Yeah, like, bro, you're as far as you can get from Chicago. But no, in the Supercard right now, I am leading by 1 point, and here on March 15th next weekend, from Los Angeles, California, the Crypto.com arena, we will be doing AEW Revolution. I believe this is like maybe their WrestleMania or not. I'm not sure. If it's, I don't know if you would consider a Revolution or All Out or All In or All Out. I think it is. That was the first ever pay-per-view, I think. But
It's weird, yeah. It's like if I just to make the comparison, All In is definitely their WrestleMania. All Out or Revolution, in my opinion. Like, of course, they had original Big Four, but to me, uh, uh, All Out or Revolution would probably be their next big show, like like
yeah, I
SummerSlam.
googled it. AEW's WrestleMania, and it says All In is established itself as the marquee event. So to me, Revolution and All In, they both have that it's WrestleMania type season vibe. But
Yeah,
but yeah, here in about a week we do AEW Revolution. We go into the second quarter of this card, and although I'm leading by 1 point, I'm not gonna get cocky because I've been there before, where I get cocky and it all bust in my face. So I'm gonna hope for the best. I'm gonna pick strategically because if I'm being honest, I think you will have the upper hand on the AEW card. I think out of everyone on this podcast, you keep up with AEW and probably even watch it more than everybody else. I mean, we all watch it from time to time, but I think you're more AEW knowledgeable than we are. So I think
yeah.
this is going to be like either your comeback or where you lose by a hair. But
Shit the bed.
yeah, like you're either gonna shit the bed or wake up happy in it, but one of the two. But yeah, so in a week's time, we will be doing the AEW Revolution, the second part of Supercard. I'm leading by 1 point. It's a close game. I mean, right now this game is closer than what the Super Bowl was. So we're right there, and this is all leading up to WrestleMania season as well, where the winner, there's no sleep for the weary here. There ain't, because as we said on the last episode, this will be like the champion could win or a new champion could be crowned, but in the end, somebody is going to be defending that title at WrestleMania Supercard. So if you or me win it, we're not, I get a month break off and get to relax. No, there's no rest for the weary, because in a month's time, we will be defending that title again, and we could lose it just as quick as we won it. But we have a special episode here, something we'd like to, get going from time to time, and we call it the RPD Past versus Present. Basically, what it is we'll pick each episode, each video, we'll pick about 5 wrestlers, and we will do past versus present. Now, it could be company to company, which theme song did you like? It could be anything of anyone's. And I would say right now, like right now we have about 4 different categories to pick from 5 different people. So I'm going to let you start this off. The first wrestler, past or present, is Jon Moxley. WWE versus
Ooh.
WWE past versus AEW present. Where do you stand on this? And by the
Uh,
way, we will be like pretty much voting on. I should have said this ahead of time, but basically what we'll be voting on is accomplishments they had in their past versus accomplishments they've had in the present. And when I say present, I'd say at least like from the past 2 years to now. Um, Also on the aura, which means the aura they had then compared to now, and overall just what the individual person being asked the question thinks. So based on all that, and it can be as long or as short or as simple as you want it to be. This is your pick, your time. Jon Moxley, WWE past or AEW present?
uh,
I'm interested.
it is cool because you get to, you see both versions and man, like so both are kind of, very different in ways, especially just with what company they've been with and accomplishments. They're kind of weighed out. You know what I mean? It's like, Dean Ambrose had a lot going for him in WWE because his positioning. He was one of the 3 members of the Shield, and the goal with those 3 members was to make all 3 of them stars, and he was keeping up with that. He was keeping up with what uh, that pressure. So with all his championship wins and everything, wow, this I'll talk out my sides for each like
Hmm.
subcategory and then make my decision that. So like for accomplishments,
Now keep in mind in WWE, he was like. Now, I don't know how many times he's held each title, but, he was a one-time WWE champion, an Intercontinental, multiple tag team champion, and I think even a United States at one point. Yeah, he was. So he's held almost every title in WWE that could be offered to him at the time, and then now in AEW, I believe he's held the AEW title twice, maybe 2 to 3 times. And
okay, yeah,
and he's
he
also the
might be
present
the
Continental
only
Champion.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Continental champion, and I believe he was trios champion with Death Riders at
Was
some
he?
point. Maybe not, nah, because that would have been Wheeler and Claudio and them guys. But anyway, so accomplishments. I gotta go with AEW, Jon Moxley, Aura. Hmm. I'm gonna go with the modern AEW John Mox. I think that's kind of made my decision almost.
Right.
It's like because I like I like this version of Mox just because he's obviously always kind of been badass, but I feel like he gives more of that badass top guy persona in AEW than he did in uh, WWE to where he was more pitched as a psychopath or lunatic fringe, and I thought that was great, but with that, the aura, and what was the last? I think you just said
Overall,
just
yeah, overall, like
yeah,
what you like overall.
yeah. I think
And by
Mox, just
and by
because
the way, it says he's a 4-time AEW champion. He's the record breaker.
that's right. Yeah, and I think he was the first 2-time, or multiple, champ and all that. So
Yep.
um, I think just with that alone, and not only that for this reason, and this is going to be a common thing with the picks that we do, if there are some in WWE and some in AEW.
Hmm.
I just always thought that there were certain wrestlers who worked better in certain companies. Like I think it's pretty clear that Swerve Strickland just works better in AEW
Perfect
than
example.
WWE. Not saying he couldn't succeed in WWE if he stayed longer, but some there it just fits their persona. MJF is like we just talk about that all the time on the pod. It's like would he be as good as he what is now if he was without the free range that he has in AEW? And
Also,
me,
you can look in
no.
the past too. Wrestlers like Triple H and Undertaker, when they were in WCW, Taker was told you'll never draw money. Triple H was a William Regal type character who was never going to get nowhere. And then they went to WWE, became Hall of Famers, legends, all time greats, Mount Rushmore talent. So yeah, like you can look as far as back as the beginning of wrestling and say, well, this person in that company or that era or whatever, they weren't this, but over here they excelled. And some people, if
And
you look at it, some people like Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, they both excelled in both companies. Maybe a little bit better in one or the other, but some people
yeah,
can do it in no matter where you put them. Like to me, The Miz, he's one of them that you could put in any company and stride. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I get that. That makes a lot of sense. So you're going to say Moxley's AEW for you?
yes, his modern day AEW persona
I
is what I'm
like
gonna
it.
go with
Yeah.
over.
I'll say AEW too. I'll make it quick and short. Accomplishment wise, I would say like accomplishment wise, I would say WWE because he has held more titles, and I didn't
Mhm.
really like the whole I got a title in a briefcase, but I'm not going to show it to you thing.
Yeah.
But I would say accomplishment wise, 2 out of 3, like 2 out of 3 out of all three subjects, accomplishment wise, WWE. Um, and then what was the other one?
And then overall,
What was the other one?
aura.
Or yeah. So WWE accomplishment wise, aura wise, AEW because they really, they've tested the waters, good guy, bad guy, everything like that. I mean, just from his first night, I remember his first night when he attacked Jericho and was standing on those all-in chips on the stage. Right
Yeah,
then and
yeah,
there, they were showing you like, oh yeah, Mox is gonna be like this guy. Yeah, was Dean Ambrose. Now back to Jon Moxley. Like if you thought you saw something before in WWE, well, you ain't seen nothing yet. So aura wise, I'd say AEW, and then overall, I'd say AEW because um, I think there's just more of him that we see in AEW, more blood, more himself.
mhm,
WWE they're a PG product. WWE is not going to have him go out there and doing and saying and bleeding like he does in AEW. AEW has allowed him to go elsewhere and just be himself. And so for me, it's like accomplishment wise WWE, but the other two, Aura and overall, I'd say AEW as well. And I would say too AEW mainly because WWE was kind of like making it where Moxley probably didn't even want to wrestle anymore. If he couldn't go, if WWE was the only company around at that time, he probably would say screw it, I'll do something else. AEW gave us pretty much this reemergence of him, and thanks to AEW, like as much as people crap on AEW, if your favorite wrestler isn't in WWE no more, like Ricochet, if you're a Ricochet fan and you hate not seeing him in WWE, you can still watch, even if you just watch his matches and his matches alone, you can still catch him wrestling on TV and winning titles and doing good. So AEW
yeah,
pretty much like said, hey, your career doesn't have to die. You got Japan, you got Indies, you can wrestle for us and do all the stuff you want to do outside this company, plus be in this company. And I think he's became more of a main eventer in AEW than he was in WWE. Sure, he was world champion and had fantastic matches, but AEW has put him in more main events and headline matches and tested the water. So I got to go with AEW as well. And
so
it makes me wonder I honestly feel like Eddie would have picked him too. I feel like Eddie would have picked AEW as well. I see him being that guy. The next,
me too.
huh?
I said me too. I could see him picking AEW as well.
The next one we're going to get to is not company versus company, past versus present. The next one is Triple H, DX past versus, DX versus Evolution. I know neither one is present right now, but if you think about it, DX was like the past, Evolution was like the present after that, and then DX was like more like the future. So Triple H, DX, Evolution. It's hard for me. I'll go first on this one. I really do like the Triple H DX more in the like 2007 and 8 and so on, because that was more of a goofier side, and they've always been goofy DX. In the day, they were just more raunchier, but
Yeah.
but I'd say like accomplishment wise, I would say Evolution, because that's really where, if you didn't think he was a main eventer, then you thought it now. Um, Aura wise, I would say Evolution as well, because Triple H went from being Shawn Michaels' sidekick in the 90s in DX, and although he became the leader, DX was more of a mid-card faction because he was fighting for the Intercontinental title and all that. But Evolution is where he became the leader of that modern day, current times Four Horsemen. And he also created two legendary stars, future Hall of Famers, Batista and Randy Orton. Batista
Mhm.
is already established as a Hall of Famer. It's just, if you go on their Wikipedia, he's already been announced. It's just the date hasn't. He was supposed to go in, I think around the COVID time, but then he was filming a movie outside of the States, and he said he would much rather be able to do it in person. So Batista's already slated to be in whenever the time is right. Orton's obviously going to go in. Ric Flair's in there twice, and if Evolution goes in as a whole, him and Triple H will both be in there 3 times, and then Batista.
Just a bunch of rings on his.
I know, all of them combined, two time, three. I mean, there's more rings than we have fingers and toes. So,
Yeah.
accomplishment wise, Evolution, aura wise, Evolution for me. And then overall, I would have to say for me, overall, I liked him more in DX, just because he was a good guy and made me laugh more than Evolution. It's so crazy because you look at Triple H and Evolution, it's like, oh my god, this guy is like making my wrestling TV life miserable. I hate seeing him hold the title and beat everybody. But then in DX, he made you laugh. Overall, for me, it's DX, but Evolution outweighs it 2-1. So to me, Triple H is Evolution. What about you? What do you have to say on that?
It's tough to disagree with both of those because accomplishments wise, of course, I think it does have to sway to Evolution because you never really remember DX with titles unless you're thinking of the 2008 2009 version uh of them back in the day. But even in the 90s, I don't really think they held titles like that, right?
Well,
They're the main.
Shawn Michaels held the WWE and European. Triple H
That's
held the European. X Pac held the European, which surprised me. X Pac's not an Intercontinental Champion. That shocked the shit out of me. New Age Outlaws held Intercontinental and Hardcore titles, and then tag team titles. DX did have quite a bit of titles, but if you look at the Evolution time, that's when they ran Raw.
yeah. I remember when yeah, not only that part, but when they had, years ago, I think it was like 2019 or something. It was like a SmackDown, reunion show of some sort, and they all had a reunion Evolution, and Cole said something about, it's like there's almost either a little bit over 40 or almost 40 world championships between these
Yeah,
four
yeah.
men in the ring. Holy shit. I was like, you're right, because, just of how much Flair has, and triple, all of them, because I think the least with amount is Batista with 8 still. So, but,
Yeah, Batista was like a 7 time champion. Orton's a 14. Triple H is a 15, and then Flair's a 6. Depending on how you look at it, a 16 to
yeah,
23 time champion. I don't care if he's 23 time world champion or not, bro. R Truth has 54 freaking 27 titles. 24/7 titles. Like, bro, Ric Flair would have to come back and wrestle for another 40 years to catch up to R-Truth.
But so I agree with the accomplishments it's them, and I also agree on the kind of the aura, because it. You could make arguments, but it's like when you hear that music and he's just leading the pack and just evolution is a mystery. It's like you just gotta love it, man. Like it's different.
Which,
It's like you said.
well, Triple H, if you count the DX and Evolution theme, Triple H has never really had a bad theme song in WWE. Even if you look like the '90s and stuff, like he's had pretty banger themes, and
Yeah.
DX and Evolution themes alone are like when you heard Evolution's song like that tick tick tick. I mean, oh my God, you were getting ready to boom out of the building, but when you heard that DX theme, especially when they were good guys, like yeah, when you heard that, like I mean, who doesn't remember them coming out on a freaking tank?
Right. That's one of the things where YouTube at the time when I was young was just starting to be a thing or whatever. But that was always a video I always just went back to see when I was a kid on because usually back then when I go on YouTube, smartphones weren't too big of a thing. They were probably just like barely coming out, and but I'd go on laptops or my school computers and just be like watching that video back of them entering on the tape,
Yeah.
and so I think my overall is like, and my pick is gonna be DX just because it was just so much fun, and also watching many eras of them. Like you said, like in 2008, 2009, they were PG DX a bit, and that they still they more had tricks and everything, and they were still funny. But obviously it wasn't like them in the Attitude Era, and even 2006 through like 2007 when they had a little reunion and they're like going against the McMahons, and that was very raunchy. Like a lot of that,
Yeah. Like I just
they had
saw
a
a
bunch of
Facebook video earlier, like probably from '06 or '07. Triple H was getting viewed by that Maria Kanellis, and he was like, "Wow, those are big. Are those real?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Can I touch them?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's talking about her pearl necklace, not her boobs. Like, like I swear, like to me, after they got back together in like '06 or something like that DX was my favorite version, just because like it was still kind of up there with the raunchiness, but like it's something like your kid could laugh at. Like now,
yeah.
back in the '90s, where Shawn Michaels was stuffing socks down his boxers and all.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't want my nephew like, dude, look at his junk. Like, bro, that's not wrestling. That's messed up.
Yeah. But even like back in the '06 or '07 era when they were feuding with the McMahons, like
Yes.
they'd always have a cock joke for Vince all the time.
Yeah. I want to give him one of them shirts now. I want to find one of them shirts. Uh, and
Overall,
and another thing, another thing I liked about DX in '06, '07, like after they got back together, was that's when Shawn Michaels was like a born again Christian, and he wasn't like his old raunchy asshole self. So this was like seeing Shawn Michaels' brain creatively say, "I can't go back to how I was, but I can still be goofy Shawn." And I'll tell you what, I love goofy, good-hearted Shawn Michaels more than I ever did the '90s douchebag Shawn. Like just seeing Shawn Beam's goofy, happy-go, born-again Christian self, like that's the Shawn Michaels I like. Just because he did have good morals, and like fun fact. When the reason Shawn Michaels was never drafted to SmackDown back in the day is because I guess him and his wife had like a Bible study group, and over and like between like Thursday and Sunday or whatever, Sean's like, well, I want to stay on Raw because I can still do my Christian group stuff. So that's why Sean never got voted to SmackDown, because he had that Bible stuff on the days off. So I thought that was really cool that he was able to be goofy Sean and still make us laugh, but it was all good hearted, and it wasn't like it wasn't starting stuff. It wasn't being a douche. It was just, you could tell Shawn and Triple H were enjoying themselves, and that's what wrestling's about: enjoying your career, enjoying your time. I mean, yeah,
And they had like such a culture, like this is gonna sound great, but it was like a cultural impact. Like
yes,
how many kids throughout the years got in trouble for doing this right here?
yeah,
Like even me, who I have my version of DX or whatever, the 08, 09 version. Plus I went back and watched the 06 and 07 parts, but even beyond kids who grew up in the 90s doing that. I remember doing that at school and getting
yeah.
sent to the office freaking doing that. And it's crazy how many generations
And it's still crazy
that's
because like nowadays, like uh, you got to think like, oh, how many factions or groups were able to, do what they've done because DX pushed the envelope. There were times where like in the 90s where like USA Network was like, if you don't tell DX to chill it, we're going to cancel you. And Triple H and Shawn was like, really? Well, let's see if you're really going to stick to your word because we're about to push it even further. Like, thanks to them, other factions after them was able to say, like NWO, for example. NWO was probably able to do some crazy things because DX was doing crazy things. And other factions still today probably do crazy things because DX showed them the way. So, yeah. So, which one do you have for Triple H? DX or Evolution?
DX overall DX
Oh, okay. I see where you're coming from. You're coming from a different. You're coming from a different atmosphere than I was thinking. Like we're both thinking two
yeah.
different ways. I like that. I like that. Our first difference on the sheet, by the way.
hmm
Okay. Our next one, we discussed this last time as an example, and I'll let you go first on this. Roman Reigns, Big Dog past versus Tribal Chief present.
I think this one's it's easy because I think on all three of the aura, the accomplishments, and everything, it just I don't I don't want to take anything away from the old Roman because me personally, I think I wasn't I wouldn't even call myself on the Roman hate train.
Me
A
neither.
lot of times I never
Me
even
neither.
understood it. Like I wouldn't even say I was like the biggest fan of Roman, but I'm just like, why is everybody like boo him all the time? And I think I started to enjoy it because I'd laugh sometimes at when it happened in
Yeah.
certain scenarios. But uh I really didn't mind the big dog when, like I said, I wasn't watching too consistent. Like eventually, I was just watching Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, but he was always a part of those.
Yes.
And even when I went to a show for the first time, and I don't know how many live show, like Roman was one of the guys I remembered the most. And at the time Seth was world champion, and he was the main event, but I just remember Roman being on the show and how much seeing how much reaction he got compared to everybody else, like him and Seth at during that time. So I always kind of enjoyed the big dog, but I think with accomplishments, with the reign alone of
Now,
what Roman did.
accomplishment wise, when he was the big dog, he was like tag team champion, intercontinental, U.S., WWE, Universal, and I don't know if he was ever a champion in NXT. But then, as tribal chief, he only held two titles, the WWE and Universal. But that one reign, 1,316 days, that outweighs every title he's ever held as the big dog combined.
Yeah, and and even back then he was a Royal Rumble winner, and he was winning all these matches
Rumble
and
winner as
stuff.
tribal chief too.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And I think with all that, and plus, you don't even have to explain the aura.
Oh my
Like the
God!
aura,
Like you'd have to
his,
be new to wrestling to have to explain it to Aura.
his, his old theme. I don't mind the whole orchestra, one that he's got, but I think his old theme is just better.
Yeah.
The dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
That.
I'm getting more like I have it on my playlist, like an hour loop of both theme songs, and I'm starting to get used to the newer one. like how I did the older one. But I shit you not, I remember like it was yesterday. The night he defeated Daniel Bryan on where he sent him packing and debuted that new theme. It was like that very Friday night SmackDown after that match. I was Googling, like, where can I find this theme song? And WWE's YouTube hadn't released it yet. There was no version of it out there yet. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, where can I download this Tribal Chief theme? Because it is a banger.
It sounds so like because usually when I hear that nowadays when I'm listening to that old theme, I'm listening to it in the gym, and
Yes.
it's like such a like godly song. I'd be sitting there just walking, acting like I'm walking in slow motion through the gym, like they have no idea what I'm listening to, but I'm like,
Imagine someone pulling your earplugs out or pulling the plug out of the phone being like, that's a WWE theme. Like, you loser. Like, no, this is what pumps me up. See, I do the same thing. Like, I'm not going to lie. It might sound childish of me, but like today I had a rough day at work. My 30-minute break halfway through the day, I listened to Roman Reigns' current theme song. And that pumped me up to get me through the rest of the day. I mean, it's different. It's so different how you can listen to songs on the radio and stuff. But when you hear that one wrestling theme song that's one of your favorites, you're like, oh, this pumps me up. I'm ready to kill the day. I'm ready to kill this workout, ready to finish this day and do my best. Like, it's just so crazy as a wrestling fan what a wrestling theme song can do to you. And you got to think, wrestling themes are one of the biggest parts of wrestling. It can kill or make a career or make a killer wrestler. I mean, imagine like I don't know, imagine Gunther coming out the Kelly's theme. You wouldn't buy that. But to us wrestlers, to us wrestling fans, a non-wrestling fan would not understand just exactly what a song like Roman Reigns' theme songs does for someone like you and me. Pumps us up, gets us through the day, makes us feel like we can kill it. Like, it's just crazy what a wrestling theme song does to us wrestling fans.
So I think overall, yeah, not only overall but aura and accomplishments. I gotta go all three with the tribal chief, our tribal chief.
Uh, Quick and simple for me, same thing. Accomplishment wise, I absolutely loved that 1,316-day reign. I was wishing that he would never lose it and he would beat Santino or Bruno San Martino's like 10,000-day record.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I was hoping it. I was like 30, 31. I was hoping I'd be like going in my 50s and Roman still be champion.
I assume he would probably, he'd probably defend it. I feel like he would start to have multiple opponents at Mania by this time if he were to hold on to it. Like, last year he went against, Punk and Seth. I feel like maybe if he still had the title, Seth would have been one on one with him at the time. But at this point, if we went into this year, they'd have to have triple threats or two matches on or one match on each night or something if for everybody.
But yeah, for me, I'd have to say like achievement wise, I'd have to say Tribal Chief. Um, Aura wise, like you said, I'm not even gonna explain it. Tribal Chief and overall Tribal Chief. Although I was just like you, I never hated Roman, even in his big dog days. I actually felt bad for him because I'm like, these people ain't even giving him a chance. And
Right?
And that's one thing, like, if I ever met Roman, I would tell him, he's probably heard it before, but I'd let him know, like, dude, I didn't love you as much as I do now, but I was still rooting for you. I was still wishing you the best and happy to see you on my TV as the big dog. Even the Shield theme song to me is a banger. And you might even agree with me, Wise, but if I put a couple of bonus factors in there that won't affect the three subjects, if you look at it mic wise, he cuts the very best promos of
Mm,
maybe of all time nowadays compared to the big dog time. Back then he would stumble, say stuff that people laughed at. Nowadays, when Roman picks a mic up, fans shut up and
mhm.
listen. Back in the day, they wouldn't let him talk. Nowadays, they want to hear it. Uh, Theme song wise, I think both Tribal Chief themes are more of a banger than the Shield theme he had. I'd say attire-wise, even though it's not much of a difference, losing that vest and showing that even bulkier, muscular body that he has compared to what he had then, all the tattoos that he has now that looks even more badass, like everything about Roman right now is better than what it was. And like you said, he wasn't terrible back then. He's just better now than what he was then. This is the Roman that everybody wanted. And WWE tried to shove him down your throat singing we didn't like, and people didn't like it. Well, now Roman's not shoved down your throats. He's here and there when he wants to be. He earned that Brock Lesnar schedule. And one thing one thing I really did like is as a wrestling community is all the fans hated him. But when he came back on that Raw and said, I'm in remission from cancer, whether you liked him or hated him, the crowd was happy to see him. I'm like, see, you don't hate him. If you hated him, you would not be that happy for the guy. Like, you just don't like his presentation and stuff. But, you have to give it time.
That's kind of how I was. Like, because I probably stopped watching wrestling full time, like in like 2014, 2015, and around that time's when the Shield, split up. And I was always just a fan of the Shield. So when they went separately, I was like, okay, I'm fans of all these guys kind of now, but I was always kind of like, I always thought he was good. So, whenever people were like always being shoved down our throats, so he keeps getting these wins, or, it's obviously going to be the guy, I was like, so what? Like, he's pretty good. Like, yes, he may be, force fed in front of us, but he's not that bad. I just didn't think he was that bad. And,
He wasn't. People just over exaggerated it. Funny thing is when they broke up, Seth, if you remember when they broke up, Seth came out with, Triple H and them. He didn't have a theme song yet. Neither did Ambrose because he was teaming up with Roman still a bit. But at one point when they broke up, before they all had their new themes, I was like, okay, what theme songs are they all going to have now? You there? Hold on. It says reconnecting. I think Ty might be getting reconnected, or I might be.
You kind of froze on me. I don't know if you can hear
me. It just froze a bit. But yeah, when they broke up, though, I was like, who's going to keep the Shield theme? And if no one keeps it, what's their theme songs going to be after this? Like, I was so amped up because 3 guys, if someone does keep it, 2 of the 3 have to get a new theme. And they weren't bad. But yeah, we agree on the Tribal Chief. We agree on AEW for Moxley. We both have differences in Triple H. We have 2 more, and I'll let you pick A or B. Which one do you want to do now? A or B?
B.
AJ Styles, TNA versus WWE. TNA Past versus WWE. Now, me personally, I'll say WWE. That's more where accomplishment-wise, I think it's kind of even. He's held titles from Indies, TNA, WWE. No matter where AJ went, you were going to slap a title on him. So title-wise, accomplishment-wise, I would say that's kind of even. Aura-wise, I would say like WWE, just because when he came into that Rumble, you knew who AJ was. He was already a future TNA or New Japan legend, Hall of Famer. So the aura he had from the past coming into WWE really carried him. And then overall, I'd say WWE because I knew of AJ Styles. I watched some of his stuff. But WWE is where, like, I heard that banger theme song, They Don't Want None. Even his one after that where he was heel, I liked that one too. But overall, for me, I'd say WWE just because that's where I really became a fan of AJ. And you got to think, it's WWE. So, for example, not many people may know who Danhausen is, but by the
Mhm.
time he's done with WWE, about a billion
People are gonna
trillion other
know
people's gonna know who he is.
for
And
sure.
and the fact that he's given us so many legendary matches, John Cena matches, which we never thought we'd see back in the day. No one ever even considered a Taker versus AJ match, which due to COVID, I
Right.
think we got an even cooler match with that cinematic match. Um, and then, yeah, for me, it's just, and then the fact that he's a WWE Hall of Famer going in, like that, I think that really helped with his retirement because not everybody was happy about it. But that retirement was like, hey, we know you're not happy with this Sunday that we're presenting you, but we're going to put a cherry on top and make it better by saying, hey, you may watch your favorite wrestler retire, and that might have sucked for you, but now you're going to get a feel-good moment when you see him accept that Hall of Fame speech. So for me, AJ Styles, it's WWE, just because that's where I got to experience more of him, where he became one of my favorites. Um, I have AJ Styles like shirts. Some are just regular shirts. I think some of them are limited edition. I got like all types of AJ memorabilia, COVID face mask when WWE was doing that. And I remember I tagged AJ on Twitter and showed him my collection, and he actually liked it. I freaked out because I was in a wrestling group, and I was like, oh my god, AJ Styles knows I exist, and everyone's like, you need to chill out. I'm like, dude, this is one of my favorite people to watch. I even went to WWE events with like light up signs that I've created for AJ Styles. I've seen him like at live events in Cincinnati. I've seen him like defend the title against Samoa Joe. I've seen him fight so many other people. I mean, yeah, WWE just for me because that's where I really became an AJ Styles fan. That's what WWE is all about. If you don't know this wrestler, we're gonna give them a chance, and by the time they leave here, they're gonna have more fans. Look at Danhausen. He may not be noticed by everybody, but now he's the number one seller T-shirt wise on WWEshop.com.
Mhm.
So if he was already a merchandise mover, now he's moving stuff. Now he's moving stuff to a nationwide, like more nationwide than ever. So AJ Styles is WWE for me. Let's give you the mic, so to speak, and hear your opinion on it, Mr. RPD.
Um, I gotta go with AJ WWE as well. It's like it's like you have all the memories of being how do you refer to himself? The face that runs the
The
place. Is
face
that
that
him
runs the place.
on SmackDown? Yeah. Uh,
The house that
something
AJ Styles built.
yeah.
Hold on. I'm not gonna lie. When he was going through that whole SmackDown is the house AJ Styles built, I was praying to God that we would get a Rock versus AJ match, which would have been a killer. I was expecting The Rock to be like, you didn't build this house. You didn't even make the word. I'm the reason SmackDown's in the dictionary. I'm the reason why my catchphrase became a show. That right there, the house that The Rock literally built from the word to the name to the show itself to AJ Styles saying it. Talk about a WrestleMania main event. If you have The Rock versus
On your candy, yes. If you say that
Oh, the
again.
promos would have been great. And I'm telling you right now, if you have The Rock versus AJ and that's not your WrestleMania main event, if it ain't your WrestleMania main event, it's not placed right. But go ahead and continue.
That you wouldn't think about. Like it's like now that you say that would have been a great feud.
Probably one of the best ever. I mean, if people think The Rock and Cena were good and Cena and AJ Styles were good, imagine The Rock and AJ not only in the ring, but the promos. Imagine what The
Mhm.
Rock could have brought up. Like, it took you so long to get here, and The Rock and AJ coming back saying it might have took forever to get here, but I did it on my own. You're a nepo baby. You had your dad and your grandpa and your entire family getting you in there. You got there when you did because of who you knew. I got here by myself. Like, dude, it could have been phenomenal. No pun intended.
I think
Electrifyingly phenomenal. No puns intended.
we both went with WWE AJ.
The only thing I wish is that, and we still have time. I wish that he would go into the TNA Hall of Fame this year too, just because that would be like the first time ever that a wrestler has gone into two major companies' Hall of Fame at the same time. And if anyone deserves like that type of aura or accomplishment, it's AJ. If I'm TNA, I'm saying like, hey, a week before you go into the WWE Hall of Fame, you got to go into the TNA because it only makes sense for him to go and get his WWE Hall of Fame ring wearing a TNA Hall of Fame ring. Come on, tell me that AJ doesn't deserve that. And plus, if you think about it, to me, honestly, I'm thinking like Shawn Michaels wise. AJ Styles was like our generation Shawn Michaels. I have not seen. I mean, to me, Shawn Michaels is like probably one of the greatest performers, entertainers of all time. And everyone was like, "We'll never get another Shawn Michaels." That's not entirely true because we got something very similar, maybe even better in AJ. And if not The Rock, AJ versus Shawn Michaels, you want to talk about a WrestleMania main event? You want to talk about a 5-star match? Dave Meltzer could not give this match a 20 stars. Yeah, I mean, it drives me nuts because that Dave Meltzer guy, I hate him. I do. I can't stand him. He has never given Kurt Angle a 5-star match. That is ridiculous.
That was crazy.
If anything, give his match with Eddie Guerrero at WrestleMania 20 a 5-star. But he never gave Kurt Angle a 5-star match. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, if he didn't give AJ versus Shawn Michaels a 5-star match, if it happened, he would be killing his own career.
He'd probably give 5 stars to AJ versus Kenny Omega or Will Ospreay. To be honest. He just has his own taste, man. Like like that's all it seems like. The whole star things, it just seems like he has a certain taste because a guy like Will Ospreay has like I don't know how many matches from him. But
And not to mention too, like AJ versus Cena, I can't think of a one bad one-on-one match they've had. I really can't. I mean, when it comes to people like that's had, pretty good matches for a majority of their one-on-one times, I'm thinking of like Rock and Austin, Taker and Kane, Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. All these feuds, you look at them and you go, I really can't think of a bad match this guy had with that guy. AJ and Cena, every match I can remember that they faced one-on-one and maybe even multi-man matches, but one-on-one wise, AJ and Cena have probably had like 20 stars combined. Especially their last match, I think it was at it wasn't WrestlePalooza, it was the one after that, I think.
Crown Jewel.
Yeah, that one right there. The last one they had where he came out in TNA's gear.
Yeah, that's
probably one of my favorite matches of all time. A tribute to wrestling if there ever was one. Did you say that AJ is WWE for you too?
Yeah.
It's really hard for me not to say TNA though, just because like without AJ Styles, does TNA even get as big as they did? Do they get the recognition? When you think of like, oh well, Hulk Hogan's the reason that we got put on the map, and so. AJ Styles was the reason, I believe, why TNA was as big as it was. Because if you didn't pay to see anybody else, which back in that day you had like Samoa Joe's and Christopher Daniels, you had all the TNA legends, all the greats, future Hall of Famers. If you watched TNA for one person other than them, it was AJ. Like it's pretty hard to not choose TNA just because. You want to talk about SmackDown's the house AJ Styles built. Nobody. You got it wrong. TNA is the house that AJ Styles built, brick from brick, rock from rock.
His in-ring style, you could argue, probably would have been a little bit better back then because there was, some stuff he just stopped doing, and when he got to WWE, because he got older and he couldn't do it anymore. Like
what's that spinal move that he did?
It's called the spiral tap.
It is Spinal
Like,
Tap. He said he'll never do that again because he was just too old to do it. But if there's one time I wish he would have done it in WWE, it would have been that last Cena match. Like, bro, if you're gonna do it now, you might as well do it in the tribute of wrestling. So the last one, and I'm glad, and it's funny that you picked me and made this one the last one. John Cena heel versus face. Now, if you want, you can say, I don't know which one you consider present or past, but John Cena, heel versus face. Who do you like? Like, what's your opinion on that? What's your vote?
it's very interesting because uh, you could argue, like, yes, he turned heel, of course, last year in 2025 on his final run. But if you look over the years, even though he never changed his persona, there were times Cena was a heel.
Yeah,
Like, used to come out to the ring and people just singing, John Cena sucks at the beginning all the time in the beginning of
he was like a heel
his
without
theme.
being a heel.
Yes. Like if you go back and you just look at all those uh matches, his feud with The Rock,
Uh huh.
he was a heel when he was going against The Rock. Like
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
the the amount of boos he would get, like a perfect example of this. If you go back to when he teamed up with Rock at Survivor Series, Rock's first match back, and against Miz and Arch, Awesome Truth, and yeah, at Survivor Series that year. He was like, I can't remember if they threw his shirt back at him
Yeah.
before. Yeah,
He faced
but
RVD at the '06 ECW and couldn't get a shirt. Couldn't get a fan to keep a shirt if he saved his life.
for real. And he was just getting like so much. He'd get heat back then, and so I think during certain like feuds and stuff, even though you could argue like he stayed babyface the whole time,
Yeah.
like he definitely what there were certain feuds where he was playing the heel, like even him against
Hmm.
Punk at times, in the later stages, he was more playing the heel. But okay, accomplishments. He's probably won most of those He's only won one of those 17 as a heel
True.
technically. So I think that one goes towards the babyface Cena. Uh,
Aura.
Aura.
You have to, now you
There's
do have to think about the aura he held as a bad guy, though. I mean, people hated that, and they let him know. Like,
and he'd take the air out of the room at times and
took
be
the wind
like,
out of my chest, I'll tell you that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember his first night on Raw as a heel when after he did that at Elimination Chamber. I was rushing home from work trying to watch Raw on my phone. Like, what's he gonna say? That's when he buried that kid in Brussels, Germany, or whatever.
Belgium or somewhere like that, or I can't remember where they were, but
Bro, I had
he
tears
like,
in my eyes when he
even
turned heel.
even when during the promo, he's sitting there like he said something, then he was like, "Not one of you sons of bitches asked me how I feel." Like,
Yeah,
who is this? Who is
yeah.
this? I don't know who this is. But
And it's so true because everybody went to these meet and greets, and I guarantee you, not one person ever said, "How do you feel, John? How are you feeling?" No, like no one. Everyone was just so obsessed with seeing him and seeing the guy that no. It's like, yeah, no one really considered that this guy's a person like you and me, and he kind of did it to himself because like he became like this almost like a godly figure, a heroic figure to so many, including myself. And it's like, bro, you built this aura that you have for yourself, and now you're shitting on people because they didn't ask you how your day went, ask you how you were. Cena wasn't out there lying. He was out there saying like, stuff that maybe was real character wise, but it was real in real life. No, I liked it when because he was out there saying like, I won all those championships. You were just there to witness it. You didn't do that. We didn't do that. I did that.
yeah, so just overall, that like people. so many people just who even wrestlers I train with now, just like, oh, their favorite wrestler is John Cena because he's the one who got us to watch it. Like, it's like back that, when I was a kid, PG PG Cena every Monday night Raw, just every time he came out, he just would get cheered. Like, that 2009 through that 2011 era would just be cheered, cheered, cheered. And,
Yeah.
I think like one of the first turns, of course, I seen was when he did feud with Punk. To me, that just, kind of flipped it a little bit, and I kind of got to see like, oh, all these people are booing Cena. Because even during that Punk feud, I was like, I think I'm still a kid. I'm still just like, why are all these people in Chicago cheering for Punk? Like he's uh like he's the bad guy. He does
Yeah.
all the bad things. He's trying to take the title and leave. Like literally, that's why I think back to that Money in the Bank match, and then and then I when he came out during that night, Cena was fucking heavenly booed,
Yeah.
boo as he came down. I was like, why are all these people booing him, John Cena? Like as a kid, I didn't understand none of it at the time. I was just like, like why would you boo John Cena? He's the good guy.
Like, well, you have to
But
like you remember like when Sammy defeated Gunther for the IC title at Mania. That's like,
yeah,
okay, well, this guy's the good guy, this guy's the bad guy. And like you said, when him facing maybe The Rock or Punk or whatever, Cena's one of them guys that can go out there and be a heel, and a babyface at the same time. But Cena's also one of those guys like when you put him in the ring with AJ, Rock, or Punk or someone, it's like pretty much it's like you get to choose the bad guy, good guy here.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're both good guys. We want you to love both of them, but the crowd's gonna boo someone to get on the side of another. I mean, yeah, like you said, that Punk match. It's like, oh my god, like those Punk matches. It's like, yeah, but he's doing all the bad guy stuff, but he's getting cheered. Yeah, that's a very rare time where WWE's like, you get to choose who the good guy, bad guy is. We're not going to set a template for you and say cheer for this guy because he's the underdog or whatever. No, you either choose between Punk or Cena and The Rock or Cena and Styles because this is your time to be heard. This is your time to show us what you think. And yeah, I get what you're saying.
I feel like they're doing that now with Punk and Roman.
Yeah, yeah.
They both seem like tweeners, and like sometimes that they're both technically baby faces right now, but when I hear the kind of jabs they be throwing at each other, I'm just like, I'd be like, whoa, these guys are like, it just reminds me of their tweeners
I don't
because
know. Punk
even
threatened to murder Roman Reigns on live TV. He's kind of heelish.
that's what I'm saying. It's like he's been babyface so long, and saying that line is not like out of the realm of, I guess, what's because CM Punk will go there, but it's like uh there's a number of tweeners in the WWE right now that
Hmm.
you kind of just accept both sides of them because they've been working. So like like to me most of the top guys are like Roman and Punk are they lean more towards the baby face, but they are tweeners. And like Drew and Seth now, like Drew leans more towards the heel, but he is still a tweener. And kind of Seth, now he's more of a baby face. but
Well, now,
but
like, well, now, like, Drew McIntyre is a bad guy, but still, the crowd loves this version of him, especially if you follow him on Twitter and the stuff he does nowadays. Like, bro, he is an internet menace. Like, where was
and
this Drew
also
McIntyre like 4 or 5 years ago?
saying like you know to me it was hard to like go against what he's saying at the time because remember the first interaction between Punk and Roman, they were just shitting on Drew, like him being the second choice and talking about SmackDown's the second show. And Drew was like uh uh I remember when he said this, he seemed very babyface of him. He was like, they're disregarding this title, they're disregarding the show. If that's not a sign for the SmackDown roster to declare war, and give it all they got when they come out here, then I don't know what is. And I was like, that's very babyface of you, Drew. Like
Yeah,
that's lit.
I just like the era we're in because I feel like some guys they want you to declare as the good and bad guy, but nowadays you're given more of a chance and opportunity to speak your voice at these events and be like, yeah, I love AJ, but I'm slowly becoming a Gunther fan, and I want to see Gunther end AJ's career and keep going on and become the next big thing. And who knows if he'll end Brock Lesnar or Michael Cole's career? Who knows? But yeah, like we live in an era now where from certain wrestlers and certain feuds, we get to choose who.
Yeah.
Like when you hear on TV them booing the crap out of Cody Rhodes now, it's like, bro, they're letting us speak our voice. Everyone was like, oh, they're piping in noise. They're putting chants in. I don't hear that as of late. They're letting shit fly. So what'd you say for Cena, heel or face?
Face. I gotta go with face. It just works.
I'm kind of the same way. To me, Cena's my hero. So accomplishment wise, obviously face. I was happy to see him get the WWE title one more time and break the record. Um, but accomplishment wise, face. Aura wise, it's almost like a tie because, well, not to me. Like to me, I loved him as a babyface, the hero. As a heel, though, he did kind of, make time stop when he turned.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a good way to put it.
I remember going to sleep that night and being like, "What did I just see?" For real, I remember it. And so aura wise, I'm leaning more toward hero than bad guy. And overall, just obviously face because Cena's like my hero. Cena's the guy like I think is like the greatest of all time, the best ever. Not just because of wrestling, but for what he does outside the ring. And yeah, for me, it's just overall face because how could you? I don't understand. Like, unless you're like one of those guys that like heels more than good guys. Like, if you liked Hulk Hogan in the '80s and all these other wrestlers when they were good guys, you can't deny Cena. Cena, he carried WWE for like nearly 25 years. Other people came and gone, went other places, and Cena took every storyline, every gimmick, everything they gave him, and he's like, yeah, I'll do my best with it. And I think it's very rare nowadays. I mean, you see people like Ricochet shitting on WWE, and I don't get that. Like, if I'm WWE, I'm going to have all these wrestlers sign non-disclosure NDA agreements saying, like, yeah, but when you leave here, you can't talk about us in a negative way. But Ricochet's out here talking crap about WWE, and it's like, bro, you got to travel the world and make new friends. You probably made good money in WWE. How are you talking crap about a company that fed you well? Cena's one of them guys, like, even if he would have gone to AEW, he'd have been like, I'm not crapping on WWE. They made me who I am, and they're the reason why I am as big as I am. Like, that's what I like about Cena. He doesn't really... Cena's not really the guy to talk crap about somebody or something. He'll have an opinion, but when Cena talks, it's like, I swear, every interview I watch with Cena, especially that Cody Rhodes podcast after he retired, Cena's one of them guys, like, if you sit down and watch the entire video of whatever interview he's in, you can actually learn something from Cena. Because Cena is so knowledgeable, he is so smart, and just when he talks and speaks his opinion, it's like, wow, I never thought of it like that, or I didn't even know that. Like, dude, Cena's one of them guys that I believe made wrestling, like, as big as it is now. And you can't deny it. Like, even if you didn't like him as a face, you can't say, well, although I disliked him, he did put on some classic matches. He did put some people over. He did do his best. He showed up on my TV every week, and that's what I like about him. A lot of people, oh, I'm going to quit. I'm going to go somewhere else. I don't want to wrestle no more. Cena was on our TVs every week and, doing his best and trying to entertain us. So how can you hate on someone who's just out there trying to make a living and at the same time make a legacy for himself and all the make-a-wishes and all the matches and entertainment he did. How can you hate on someone who's not even home 10 days a year?
Yeah.
So for me, it's phase two. So out of all these, you and me had, I think, one difference, and that was Triple H, DX, and Evolution. Other than that, 4 out of 5, you and me had pretty much agreed on. Now, the one thing I know we won't agree on is who's walking out of AEW Revolution as RPD champion. If I was to ask you who's walking out, we would both say us.
It's me, right? We both agree.
I think it's going to be me. I have a feeling. I'm not saying I'm going to win it, keep retaining it at their WrestleMania Supercard. That's hard to do, but I think this is my time. I think it's my time to hold a month reign. I held it for 71 days last time, so 101 days sounds right. I'm 101 proof.
Yeah, I think I actually did the math of like how many all of us held it consistently. I can't remember if mine was like 3 something or 4 something. It was like 3-0 something or 4-0 something, but
You said you're undefeated at
whatever.
WrestleMania Supercards, right?
Yep. Yep.
Well, now I have a new go ahead, my friend.
We shall see.
I'm so mad that I didn't beat you or Eddie didn't beat you at Rumble. Yeah, you got a
Yeah.
tie, but that don't mean nothing. You're still undefeated.
Yep. We both technically won that one.
No, a tie's not a win or a loss.
True. But we led the board.
I remember somebody who used to be on this show commented on the comments and was like, "But did you win the title?" And RPD's channel just so happened to comment back and say, "Hey, he didn't lose. He didn't win, but he didn't lose." So I mean, that's like in a wrestling match. If there's a draw, the champion keeps the title. So in that same sense, it being a draw, you kept your streak. Yeah, there's a tie there, but you've never been defeated, and that's something.
That's like if we were at an actual match, like it's like we beat Austin by count out. It's like, yeah, we won the match and everything, but it's like we didn't walk away with the title.
Like that's why I thought about it. And I was like, now I know why in triple threat matches there's no count outs, because the third guy the champion could just leave, and that's one thing I would do as a champion. If I was a heel champion, I would lose every match by count out just to retain my title. Like, dude, this guy's lost 20 title fences but kept the title. That's never happened before. but yeah, we had out of all this, we had 4 agreements, 1 disagreement. I feel like Eddie would have agreed on a lot of this. The one thing I see Eddie maybe being different about is AJ Styles. I think he would have picked TNA. I really do think he would have picked TNA. I think he would have agreed with us otherwise. But yeah, I like doing this past and present stuff, and I can't wait to get the other 1 or 2 guys on here and hear their opinions on future past or presents. We'll keep it at about five people in each past or present video, because I think it really does. Like, as of right now, it fills out a pretty good episode, and we can do more and make it a playlist and add more to it. But yeah, that was our past and present video. I enjoyed this one-on-one conversation with you. Don't forget to check out my interviews from TSW, Traditional Southern Wrestling Talent, from this Saturday. I'll be at the TSW event and at GR Hampton and I think Barberville, Kentucky. If you follow me on Facebook, look out for my interviews I'll be doing. Like I said before, we are halftime on the Supercard. Ty and Eddie both have 2 points. I have 3 points. I am winning by a 1-point lead, but this could be this is going to be a close game. In a way, I kind of wish it was still tied. I wish I would have got knocked down to 2, just because it would have been like at the Super Bowl halftime, both teams tied. Now they got to get into gear and really see who's going to come out on top. But yeah, March 15th, AEW Revolution, we find out who's going into WrestleMania Supercard and defending the title. Yeah, I was just saying, check us out for the other half of the card. We're going
Yep,
into
we're
WrestleMania season.
closing up on Revolution next week to finish it off. Anything can happen because it's gonna be like that more than likely 10 plus matches. That's usually how AEW goes with the combined pre-show matches. So stay tuned for those predictions. I have been Mr. RPD. He has been Joey Hudson. We have been the Ring Post Daily Podcast. And of course, as always, happy wrestling.